Namaste, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's session. The title of today's talk is Patanjali's Mahabhashyam, Chapter 1, Paspashahnikam. Our guest speaker is Mr. TSC Easwaran, who is a chartered and cost accountant. He worked in the corporate world for over 3 decades in senior capacities in multinational companies. Currently, he is a senior partner in Cadence Management, offering various financial services to corporates. Sanskritam, often referred to as the mother of all languages, fascinated him greatly, especially its grammar, turning interest into passion. While doing financial consulting after his corporate career, he pursued Acharya, Masters in Sanskrit, specializing in Vyakaranam. Currently, he is pursuing another Acharya degree, specializing in Prachin Vyakaranam. He is also a volunteer in Mirambika School, teaching Samskritam to students of 6th, 7th, and 8th standards. Ishwaran sir, we are honored to have you with us on the YES platform. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time for all of us, sir. Look forward to your session, sir. Over to you.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्यम् औदार्यशमानिधिं सदा विनवपूर्वं तं विद्यार्थीर्थगुरुं भजे अज्ञानां जान्वतीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखतं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्या विनयसम्पन्नं वीदरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखर भारतम् अपार करुणा सिंधुं नानदं ज्ञानरूपिणं चंद्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणतोस्मि अहम्. Thank you, Dr. Bijilani sir and Arunima. Thank you for giving this opportunity to speak on a favorite subject of mine about Patanjali, Bhagavan Patanjali. And let me start with the help of a PowerPoint presentation. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Okay. Okay. Let me start with the prayer, which is usually done by Vyakaranas or grammarians. Nrittavasane Nataraja Rajo Nanada Takkam Navapanchavaram Uddharta Kamaha Sanakati Siddhan Edat Vimarshe Shivasutra Jalam Enakshara Samamnayam Adigamya Mageshwarat Tutsnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai Sri Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararajim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam. If you see, two of the slokas in this talks about Lord Nataraja himself. The first sloka says, Nrittavasani Nataraja Rajo Nanada Dakkam Navapanjavaram. Nava Pancha means 14. On your left-hand side of the screen, you will see the picture of Nataraja with 14 sutrams of Nataraja. So it says, I un riluk ye ong, I ouch haya varat lan, jamagananam jabhai gadadash jabagadadash, kapa cha ta ta tatava kapayang shasasar hal. These 14 are called Maheshwara Sutrani, and it is, the legend says, Panini heard this in the forest and he created this entire grammar called Ashtadhyayi based on this. So even though it looks like a certain arrangement of, haphazard arrangement of letters, if you closely look at it, the first four sutras actually have refer to the vowels of the Sanskrit. In this, the last letter, which is called I, Un, the N, R, L, K, they are called Anubandhas and they have to be ignored. If you see the first letter of the first sutra, it is called A, and the last letter of the fourth sutra will be Ich. So these letters or all the vowels are referred as Ach. If you see the fourth sutra, which is Hayavarat, the first letter is Ha, and the 14th sutra is Hal, the last letter is Hal, La. So all the consonants of the Sanskrit are referred as Hal. That's where you will get this word Halant. When the last letter of a word is constant, it is called Halant. Another interesting is that to refer to all the letters of the Sanskrit Varnamala, you have to take the first letter of the first sutra, which is A, and the last letter of the 14th sutra, which is L, and call Al. Al means all the letters of Sanskrit. You will refer that when you say all in English language, essentially its sources comes from this Al, which is the Maheshwara Sutrani. And also, in Arabic, Al means a definitive. So most of the source of all these letters come from Maheshwara Sutrani and also the Sanskrit Vyakaranam. So that's very interesting that we believe that Shiva is the source of Sanskrit grammar and the Sanskrit language flowed from him. So what I will be mainly concentrating will be giving a brief introduction to Acharya Panini, Vararuchi, and Bhagavan Patanjali. You will see in the Vyakarana tradition, these three are called the Munitrayam, Vakyakaram Vararuchim, Bhashyakaram Patanjalim, Panini Sutrakarancha, Pranatosmi Munitrayam. We always pray to these three great men before starting off anything to do with Vyakaran. Then I will straight jump into Mahabhashyam and talk about its uniqueness in terms of what it represents and also the style of writing, the Shaili. While we talk about Mahabhashyam, then I will narrow it down to its first chapter, which is called Paspashahnikam, which is nothing but the bhumika of starting the book of Mahabhashyam, and talk few highlights of Paspashahnikam, which is benefits of learning Vyakaranam, and also some of the philosophies which emanated from these three, which is Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe, Sati Tatparye, Sarve Sarvartha Vachakaha, and Chaturvida Vak. Then I will conclude my session. So Acharya Panini composed the sutras in 8 chapters. And that is why you will see it is called the Ashtadhyayi. Ashta Adhyayam, it's called Ashtadhyayi. It is around 350 BC he composed this. We believe he belonged to Sharadul village, which is currently in Kandahar in Afghanistan. So these sutras are very, very succinct. In fact, there is a sutra Lakshana which says, Alpaksharam Asangdiktam Sarasvat Vishvato Mukam Astobam Anavadhyam Cha Sutram Sutra Vido Viduhu. It's supposed to be extremely succinct. Any sutra is supposed to be very short and universally applicable, and it should be doubtless. In fact, it is said that if the Vyakarnas are able to save half a matra in a sutra, it's supposed to be equivalent to getting a sun. Okay, so that's what the Sanskrit saying goes. Based on this, Katyayana or Vararuchi wrote a Vartikam, which essentially means that he will add to the sutras if something is not said. He will correct certain sutras and he will also discuss on what is in the sutra. It is also believed Katyayana was a classmate of Panini, and so he was a contemporary. 200 years later comes our hero of the speech, Bhagavan Patanjali. He kind of wrote the commentary on both the sutras and the Vartikams by Panini and Katyayana respectively. So they are called, there are about 85 Annikas. Annikas means, Ahan in Sanskrit means a day. So what is written in a day is called Annikam. So there are 85 Annikas. In fact, when, as Arunima introduced, I am doing the Acharya in Prachin Vyakaranam. On all the 4 semesters, there is only one Grantha which I have to study and give my exams. That is Mahabhashyam. So that is the only subject which we have to study. So this Bhashyam is so celebrated by all the Sanskrit scholars. Therefore, it is given the name Mahabhashyam. Like, for example, if there are many Gayatris, which you know, like Durga Gayatri, Gayatri, etc., but we refer to Gayatri as only one Gayatri in the ordinary language. Likewise, it is Mahabhashyam means it is written by Bhagavan Patanjali. A little bit of Purana or history of Bhagavan Patanjali. The mother's name is Gonika. It is said that Gonika prayed for a son, and one morning when she went to the river after taking a bath, as usual, they'll take a water in both their hands and give it as an argyam to Surya. As she took the water for giving argyam, Bhagavan Panini, in a form of a small snake, fell on her hands. So he got the name Anjali, means keeping both the hands together, and Padat means to fall, and he was called Padat Anjali Patanjali. So the origin of where he was born, of course, is a lot of discussions, a lot of opinions. Some view as he belongs to Patliputra. Some view as, since her mother's name is Gonika, there is a place called Gonarda in Kashmir. And in the Matsya Purana, they say he's from east of India, east of Bharat. However, there is a very strong Patanjali tradition in south of India. We believe in Chidambaram. There are 2 men who witnesses even now the Ananda Tandava of Nataraja. You will see them on either side of Nataraja. One is Vyagrapada. Vyagra means tiger. Pada means feet. Person who is having tiger's legs as his feet. And the other is Patanjali. You will see that picture on your left-hand side. 2 munis on the left side on the right side of Nataraja. One is Vyagrapada, other is Patanjali. It is believed that he is the avatar of Adishesha. If you go down the south in a place called Srirangam, Vishnu forms in a lying pose on the Adishesha. And Adishesha wanted, and he said that I want to see the Ananda Tandava of Nataraja in Chidambaram. So Vishnu told him that you be born again and be witness to that. So he was born and he was witnessing the Ananda Tandava of Nataraja. There are again 2 very important legends in South India, which is associated with Patanjali. One is that, which is currently associated with Adishankara too. So in Chidambaram, he took his original form of Adisesha, which is 1000 Pani, and taught the students the Mahabhashyam. Since he took this huge form, there are 2 conditions to the students, that he put a screen in front of him and say that nobody should open the screen when I am teaching, and nobody should leave the place when the lessons are on. As it happens, one of the students who is little dumb left to answer his nature's call. At that time, one of the other students opened the screen and tried to peep into what is happening on the other side. Unfortunately, since Adisesha with his 1,000 fangs was in the superior form, they couldn't, all the 999 students could not bear the gaze of Adisesha and they were burned to ashes. So Patanjali was very upset that whatever my effort is gone. While he was brooding over this, this dumb student was coming back from his nature's call. There was also a curse saying that if you leave while the lessons are on, you will become a Brahma Rakshasa. So while he was happy, he was also a little sad that this poor student will become a Brahma Rakshasa. Even then, he actually transferred, without teaching him, all his knowledge of Mahabhashya to this student. This student is nobody or nothing but Gaudapada, who will actually become the Paramaguru or Guru's Guru of Adi Shankara later in his life. So Gaudapada, Gauda is his name. Gauda is actually means east of India. He reaches Narmada forest, Narmada river, and reaches that forest and lives on a tree as a Brahma Rakshasa, waiting for his end of this Brahma Rakshasa and waiting for his next student. So years pass, nobody came. And what happens is that whenever somebody passes that one, this Brahma Rakshasa will question him on Sanskrit grammar, and they will not be able to answer it. He will kill them and eat them. So after a long time, a boy called Chandra Sharma wanted to learn Mahabhashya, and he traveled from Kashmir to south to learn from him. So when he reached the Narmada forest, his Brahma Rakshasa again saw him and started his questioning. Very interestingly, it is the questions also we are aware. It is a build called Nishta Pratyaya. Like, for example, if you're saying Bhuj, to eat, Nishta Pratyaya, the word will become Bhuktam. If you are talking about Sich, that is to sprinkle water, the Nishta Pratyaya word will become Siktam. But when it comes to Pach, which is to cook, there is an exception in grammar. Instead of Paktam, the word is Pakvam. So Chandra Sharma answered this correctly, and Gaudapada got relieved of his Brahma Rakshasa status. So he gave the entire Mahabhashyam to Chandra Sharma, who later became Govinda Bhagavat Pada, who is actually the guru of Adi Shankara. Recently, if you know that in Madhya Pradesh, in Narmada, they installed a huge statue of Adi Shankara near the caves where Adi Shankara met Govinda Bhagavat Pada when to receive his sannyasa and to start his work in this world. There is another interesting legend which is associated, very interesting legend, but even now it continues. So since he was having the snake's legs, both in one of the things, the Nandi of Shiva and Vyagrapada teased him and said that you are moving slowly, you don't have legs. So it is said that Patanjali got very upset and he created what is known as Nataraja Sutram, without any dirgha letters and without any letters which have horns on their top, like A, I, O, and Au. It is called as Charana, that means no legs, Shringa, no horns, Nataraja Rahita, Nataraja Stotram. So even now at 6 p.m. in Kanchi Mat, exactly at 6 p.m., this sloka is recited to the accompaniment of drums. It's called the lamp puja, and this is even now recited in Kanchimatam. We will see the first sloka of this Charana Shringa Rahita Nataraja Stotram. You will see none of the letters have any legs or any dirgha like sa, ma, or any have letters like o, and au. That is the beauty of this. And of course, the picture which you see is the Ananda Chidambaram's temple where Nataraja statue is kept. and the roof is completely weighted with golden nails and golden plates, which is called Chitambara. Okay, it is done around 900 AD by the Chola king called Parantaka Chola. So I will read the first stotra. You will see the beauty of this. Sadanchita mudanchita nukunchita padam chalan chalan chalita manju katakam. Patanjali trikanchana mananchana machanchala chalam jananam banjanakaram. Kadampa ruchita mambaravasam paramambuda kadampa. 1 minute. Let me open my. Kadampa ruchi vidambaravasam paramambuda kadampa vidambagagalam. Chidambudi manimbuda irdambuja ravim paramim paradam para chitambara natam hridi bhaja. So he actually says that you think of Nataraja, who is always in the state of Ananda, who has a Kunchita Padam, the leg which is bent, and whose Katakam, which is the bells on his legs, are always ringing. And Patanjali, he opens the eyes of Patanjali. Drik Anjana, Drish Anjana means the Anjana on the eyes, and he is blameless, and he is the one who is breaking this Janana Panjanakaram. He is breaking this cycle of birth and deaths. So that's how this goes. There are around 10 slokas of this Charana Shrinka Rahita Stotra. So now coming to Mahabhashyam, it is said that there is a sloka which says, in all the Shastras, Vyakaranam is very important. And in Vyakaranam, even Panini's Vyakaranam is important. It is, so we know that Panini's Vyakaranam is not the only Vyakaranam. It actually starts with Indra. There is a Indra Vyakaranam. There is a Chandra Vyakaranam. There are many people who have written Vyakaranam before Panini. But even now, what stand is Panini Vyakaranam? It has actually replaced a lot of other Vyakaranams, what we have today. Even in Vyakaranam, the Mahabhashyam is supposed to be very charming. And even in Mahabhashyam, the first chapter, which is called the Paspashahnikam, is supposed to be extremely delightful. So, unlike many other languages' grammar, in Sanskritam, the Vyakaranam also is also philosophy. A lot of philosophy and darshanam are picked out of Panini and then by Bhagavan Patanjali. Later, this is expanded into in their own way by many intellectuals. And one of the most important is Bhartruhari, who is supposed to be younger brother of King Vikramaditya. There is a legend associated with him that is for a separate talk. He wrote a book called Vakyapadiyam, in which he actually expands on the Shabda Nityatvam of which essentially came from Mahabhashyam. And then in the around 17th or 18th century, Nagesha Bhatta wrote around 99 books, and he was so dedicated to Patanjali. He will always say that this is said by Bhagavan Patanjali, and there is no question which is asked when he says it is Bhashye Uktam. So even the language of Mahabhashyam is actually in a conversational style. And to actually prove a point, which I will refer in one of these slides, he will always come back to the Loka Vivahara, what is happening in the ordinary lives of people, and he referred to them and justify a Shastra point. I'll give you a few Lokanaya which he used, which is one said, Samana Guna Eve Spardha Bhavati, Nahi Adya Apirupo Spardate. When there is a competition, it has to be between two same gunas. Like if I'm talking about beauty, we have to compare the beauty of two persons rather than beauty of somebody else or something else of somebody else. That's why it says, Samana Gune Eva Spardha Bhavati. Nahi Adya means richness. Abhirupo is beauty. You can't have a competition between rich guna and a beauty guna. Then there is another one, it's called Amran Prushtaha Kovidaran Achaste. It is answering not to the question. He is asking about a mango, somebody answers about a tree. So another one is very interesting. It's called Amrascha Sikta Pitarascha Pranita. So if you do your argyam to a Amra tree, you are not only pleasing your forefathers, Pitarascha Pranita, but also you are watering the amra or the mango tree. That means with one activity, you are actually achieving two benefits. Another one is called Kakapeya Nadi, which is that the nadi is so full of water, only a crow can drink from it. That means the water is very low. So Bhagwan's Patanjali's view and the discussion is so celebrated. In the later day intellectuals, when they have to prove a point, they always go to Bhashya saying that it is written by Bhashya, it is written by, said by Bhagavan Patanjali. So you will see whenever I refer to Panini or Patanjali, we always use the attribute Bhagavan Patanjali and Acharya Panini. Even Patanjali, when he refers to Panini in his books, he will say Acharya Uktam. He respected Panini for his brilliance. So now we will come to the style of the Mahabhashyam. It is actually very interesting. It is written in a very conversational style. He will write a sutra, immediately there will be a question, and he will try to answer the question. After answering the question, there will be further questions. And after completing one particular subject of a sutra, somebody else will ask a question. So it is a series of questions and answers. And by this method, all the doubts are cleared. Sometimes the questions taken by Purva Pakshi, meaning the man who opposes it, is accepted by Panini. Sometimes he rejects it. He said, Vishama Upanyasaka, whatever you're saying is absolute nonsense. So in this process, he actually says some of the sutras of Panini is not required for the purpose of understanding grammar. So which he called Pratyakanam. He rejects that sutra. Even without this sutra, we will be able to understand grammar. So I'm giving one example of this style of the Mahabhashya, which is the introduction I'm picking up. I'll give one small peep of the how the style of Mahabhashya goes in then my next slide. So it starts like, what is grammar? Ata Shabdhanu Sasanam. It says it is the Sasanam which commands the Shabda. Ata iti aya Shabdo Adhikarartham Prayujyate Shabdanu Sasanam Nama Shastram Adhikrita Veditavyam. Then immediately question comes, what kind of Shabdam are you referring to? Kesham Sabdhanam. Then the answer says, Laukikanam, Vedikanam. It is both Vyavahara language and also the language which is used in Veda. Laukikanam, Vedikanam. Lokas tavat Gauhu, Ashvaha, Purushaha, Hasti, Shakunihi, Brahmanaha. Iti. The words used, the Shabda used in ordinary Vyavahara, like Gohu, Ashvaha is a horse, Purushaha is a man, Hasti is a female elephant, like extra. Vedikaha kalu api. In Vedas also this Shabda is there. Shanno Devi Vrashtaye, Isher Jvatva, Agnimile Purohidam, Agna Ayahi Vitiye. These four are beginning of all the four Vedas. A very interesting point here. One of the daily Anushtanam of a Brahmin is called a Brahma Yagyam, where he recites among other things, the first four first what you called Rik of all the four Vedas. And it is again a tradition that among Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, he will recite his Vedas first Rig first, then he will proceed to the other Vedas. Like I belong to Yajurveda, I will start with Isher, Dva, Varjavatya, Vayavasto, Ivayavasto. So I will start with that. But like that, Shanno Devi Barashtaye belongs to actually Atharva Veda. So many Pandits believe Patanjali, since he started with this Shanno Devi Barashtaye, Patanjali belongs to Atharva Veda group or Atharva Veda family. Then coming back to the Shaili, he say, Ata gauhi iti atra ka shabdaha. He said, this word go is what kind of shabda is this? So then he said, Kim yat yat sasna langula kukkuda vishanya rupam sa shabdaha. It says that what refers to sasna is the dew which has a cow has, langula is a tail, kukkuda is the hump, vishanya is the horns. Is it the rupam? That is the shabda you are referring to? Then he said, ne etyaha. He said, you can't say that because they are the objects, dravyam namatat. So the question is there is an answer, then there is a question, then he will give an explanation to what is a shabda is all about. This style continues to entire Mahabhashyam. And it looks very easy, as my teacher says, that Mahabhashyam looks like a sea. It looks very calm, but once you enter it, it takes you very deep and it completely engulfs you. And sometimes it is very, very difficult to understand the style and the arguments which Bhashyakara propounds. Now I come to the Paspashahnikam. So immediately, if you'll say, most of the sutras, they will start with Kim Prayojanam, they will say, Kani Prayojanani, what is the benefit of learning this? It's like that even a fool will not start a work if you can't find him the benefits. Mere liye kya hai? What is in it for me? So first thing he say that these are the 5 main benefits of learning grammar or Shabdanusasanam. So Raksha, to protect, to know the disappearance and appearance and change of letters. In certain places, some of the words, the letters will change, letters will come in, letters actually will get disappear. Then there is Uhaha. That means in Veda, essentially in many things, you will not see all the vibhaktis of all the words. You have to guess according to the grammar. Everybody will know the vibhaktis of Ramaha, which is Ramaha, Ramam, Ramena, Ramaya. So there is a very interesting story which is associated with this. So there are Sapta Chiranjeevis, which we believe. So it is like Ashwatthama, Hanuman, etc., etc. So there was a puja which was happening on this Sabda Chiranjeevis. So the Panditji was first saying he was not aware of this grammar. He will say Ashmattamaya Namaha. So there was a grammarian sitting with this. He said, no, it is not Ashwattamaya Namaha. The original word, which is the root, is Ashwattaman. Therefore, you should say Ashwattamane Namaha. Then he will say, okay, the Pandit started it again and say Hanumaya Namaha. So grammarian again interrupted. He said, no, it is not Hanumaya Namaha. The original word is Hanumat. So it should say Hanumate Namaha. So again, the Bali, he will say Balaya Namaha. Grammarian again interrupted and said, no, it is not Balaya Namaha. The original word is Bali. So it should be Balaye Namaha. So Pandit very got upset. He said, now you start the puja. And the grammarian took over and immediately said, Vyasaya Namaha, Kripaya Namaha, Parashuramaya Namaha, and Vibhishanaya Namaha, because they are Akaranta Pullingaha. The fourth Vibhakti is actually like Ramaya. Pandit said, that's what I was saying. You objected to first 3 of them. So actually, this indicates that you have to understand the root to know all the Vibhaktis, because Vedas will not be able to give you all the Vibhaktis of all the words. So you should be able to guess the right word and the right Vibhakti. So the third one is Agamaha. So there are 6 Angas to a Veda, like Shiksha, Chandas, Niruktam. among all this, Vyakaranam is supposed to be the mukam of Vedas, which by learning which we will be able to understand all the other Shastras. So it is the easiest one to learn a Shabda, and it is the easiest way to remove doubts. I would like to point out that in the same word can have a different meaning in Sanskrit, depending on the swara in which it is being used. There are 3 swaras in Sanskrit, which is Udata, Swarita, Anudata. Depending on where you are using the swara, the meaning can change. An example, Lokanataha can be 2 opposite meanings. It can be Lokanataha means the Nata of the Lok itself or the king, but it can also mean a person. For him, Loka itself is the Nata, meaning that Loka itself is the head of him. That means a beggar. So depending on where you are putting the swara, the meanings can change. So only a grammarian will understand what exactly it means, because he is understand the swara aspect of the language. So again, one of the other concepts propounded in the Paspashahnikam is Shabdam is Nityam or Anityam. So he propounds Shiddhe Sabdartha Sambandhe. So it is the Vyakarana view that Shabda is Nityam. It is eternal, it is not transitory, it is constant, and it is absolutely kutastha, meaning it stands where it is. So it started with Acharya Vyadi, which Bhagavan Patanjali refers. And he also says that there is a question which actually comes, that why did you use the word Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe instead of saying that Nitya Shabdartha Sambandhe? There are 2 explanations which is said. Siddha is because of it's always Mangalam. It is Mangalartham Siddhe word is used. So then again they ask, why are in talk? Siddhe means both transitory and Nitya, like Siddhe Odanam. He said, you cook the rice, which is actually the rice will go bad. So why are you using the words which can be confusing? Why don't you use the word Atyanta Siddhe? So he actually comes back to Lokanaya in saying that it is actually a Bhashya Pankti. He said that if there is a lady called Satyabhama, we actually call her Bhama. If somebody is called Devadatta, we can call him Datta. So I am using the word Siddhe, which is nothing but Atyanta Siddhe. So as you see, he actually proves a Shastra point by using a Lokanaya. From this Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe, Bhartrhari wrote a huge book which is the basis of Vyakarana philosophy, called Vakyapadiyam. The opening karaka of Vakyapadiyam itself, it says, Anadi Nidanam Brahma Shabdadattvam Yat Aksharam Vivartade Artha Bhavena Prakriya Jakato Yataha, which says that the Shabdam is Anadi, which is no beginning, and it is indestructible. In fact, Aksharam itself is Nachiyade iti Aksharam. That which cannot be destroyed is Akshara. This Shabda is shown as a different meanings for the purpose or the Vyavahara of the Jagata. You see the word Vivartade Artha Bhavena. Vivartade means the appearance is different than the original nature. The classic example is for a person who is in the confused state, a rope can look like a snake. So that is which happens. The meanings are our understanding of the Shabda's meaning, and Shabda itself is Kutastha or Nitya. So the other one is called, other opposite to Vivarta is called Parinama. It's like a milk becoming a dahi or dadi. So that is Parinama, that is not Vivarta. So we have to understand that Shabda is not doing the Parinama, it only appears in Jagat, whereas Shabda itself is Nitya and Kutastha. So then when there is a next logical question which says that can any Shabda can mean anything? So that question comes in. So Bhashyakara answered, Sasi Tatparye Sarve Sarvartha Vachakaha. If the intention is there, any Shabda can mean anything. One of the, again, classic example which is given is Gangayam Goshaha. In fact, I'm picked up from one of the advertisements from the net. It said this hotel is on the Ganges. On the Ganges means, actually it means it is in the middle of the Ganges, but people will understand it is not in the Ganges, it is on the banks of Ganges. So this is a very classic example where, because we understand when he says Gangayam, it means actually the bank, not in the Ganges. So then the question comes, can we use pata, which is actually a cloth, to refer to gata, a plot? So the answer comes is there is no tatparyam there. Since there is tatparya abhavaha, you can't use any word to mean anything. The tatparya has to be present. And he goes on to say that this shabda has this meaning for a vyavaharika is fixed by Ishvara himself, and it's given to us by rishis and munis and sishta prayogaha. We should follow that. So this is another important concept which is propounded by Mahabhashyam. Then I'm going to almost come to the end of the presentation. So what is Shabda if it is not the Dhvani which we actually see? So he actually expands into 4 Shabdas, which is called walk, which is called Chatur with a Vak, which we are all familiar. If somebody is familiar to Lalita Sahasranamam, actually Lalita is referred as Para Pashyanti Madhyama. Actually, it is the 367 Nama in Lalita Sahasranamam. Para Pratyaksha Chitirupa Pashyanti Paradevata Madhyama Vaikari Rupa Bhakta Manasa Hamsika. That's how she is referred as. Paravak is actually in the Mooladhara space, and Mooladhara Sthita, where Shabdam and its meaning Artha, there is no difference. Both of them are together, and it is absolutely Cheshta Shunya. There is no activity. It is Bindu Rupa. This is where we call it Shabdas Brahma Swarupam of Devi. Then the Vayu moves towards the Nabhi Pradeshan, where it is called Pashyanti. It is only can be understood by yogis in their samadhi, both para and Pashyanti, and it is also called Shabda Brahma Rupa in this space. Now, the Pavana or Vayu moves to the Hridayam space, where ordinary people actually can understand, because now we can position a meaning to a Shabda, and it is not yet understood by the hearer because there is no Dhvani which has come, but in our own heart, we will actually form these words. And there is a difference between this particular Shabda has this meaning, which is different from where Para and Pashyanti is there. After this, through the efforts of the mouth or throat or tongue or anything, we pronounce or give the sound to the hearer. It's called the Vaikari Rupa. So this particular time only, the hearer will be able to understand the meaning of what we are trying to say. Sound emanating from the mouth, capable of being understood by the hearer. So para pashyanti madhyama vaikari vak. Generally people understand shabda as a sound, but it is the last turiya stage of shabda rupam. Okay. So turiya means the 4th form of shabda rupam. So just to recap, what I was trying to say is that Bhagavan Patanjali is Adisesha's avatara. His Bhashyam on Acharya Panini Sutras and Katyayana's Vartikam is celebrated as Mahabhashyam. Its introduction is called Paspashahnikam. It is a great source of modern Indian philosophy regarding Shabdanusasanam, Shabda Nityatvam, and most of the linguistics. And there is also something called Spota philosophy, which emanated from this, which was later expanded by various intellectuals like Bhartrhari, Nagesha Bhattaha, in their philosophy part of Sanskrit grammar. I think I've just come to my end of my presentation. Thank you. And thank you very much, Dr. Vijay and Arun. Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this enlightening and very interesting session. Thanks a lot. We can check with the participants if anyone wants to share something or has a question for you. Sir, I would request you to stop sharing the screen.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you. Yeah, participants, please go ahead. If you want to share something or ask something, you can use the chat box. I can read out your messages or simply unmute yourself and speak up.
Hello, good evening. My name is Arvind. And I enjoyed the talk very much. I just wanted a small comment I just wanted to make that Patanjali's Yoga Sutras also start with Atha Yoga Anushasana. So, do you have any comment to offer on that?
Yeah, like Atha is for Mangalartham. Okay. So Atha, actually in Atha Shabdanusasanam, there is a question that why are you starting with Atha? I will give you an interesting another example. Panini's sutras started with the first one called Vriddhi Radhech. It means actually the letters A, I, and O is called Vriddhi. So there is a question which is asked by Bhashyakara saying that only when the child is born, you will give the name. That means the name comes later to the child being born. Here, you are saying Vriddhi as the first one, and then you say Radhech, Adech. Why are you? This is not correct. Okay. So this is the first question asked in the Mahabhashyam. So the answer he himself says that Vriddhi Mangalartham. Vriddhi means to grow. So for Mangalartham, Bhagavan Panini used the word Vriddhi. My teacher gave another example, very interesting Loka Vivahara example. So I think, I don't know whether it happens in the modern day. When in our younger days, the mother asked you, said, Aata piske ajana, bring me the atta. But actually she gives a bag of wheat and tells me, Aata piske ajana. So he says that atta to hua nahi abhi tak. It has not become atta. But why is my mother calling it atta even before it becomes an atta? This is very normal Loka Vivahara. So my teacher said it is called Bhavi Sanya, meaning that it is going to become an atta. So I'm naming it as atta even at this present itself. So that is another interesting discussion on Panini's, why did he use Vriddhi in the first place, even saying and the Sangi, the one which is named later. Okay. Some of the interesting discussions in the Shastras, Arvindji. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Participants, anyone else wants to share something or ask something, please go ahead. Ishwaran sir, we have some words of appreciation for you in the chat box. Very nice and interesting presentation. Dr. Bijlani sir, I request you to share your thoughts, please.
Mr. Easwaran, you have set a new benchmark in scholarship and how to present such a serious subject in an interesting way so that even completely ignorant people like me who knew nothing about the subject will also get something out of it. So combining both these things, the deep scholarship, which was so obvious, with that popular touch, is something which you have achieved extremely well. And you set a sort of a new standard, because we haven't had a comparable talk on this type of a subject anytime in the past so far. And I mean, there's nothing much that
to
you
make
really
a
can
comment,
comment, except for the continuity that you pointed out from the BC period till now. That struck me, that what started in the BC period, some of the practices are continuing even now in the south of India. As you said, some of the shlokas are being recited in exactly the same way. So this type of a remarkable continuity going to more than 2000 years would be one of the probably very rare things to happen anywhere in the world. And another thing, of course, which comes out in everything that we discuss in India is that you can't divorce it from philosophy. So even grammar and philosophy go together. So these are some of the things that were noteworthy, apart from, of course, a lot that I learned in what you said. And thank you again. And we hope that since it was only the first chapter, there'll be many more chapters that you may like to discuss in the coming
Sure,
sessions.
sir. Sure. There is any interesting sutra with a interesting one, we can discuss, and I will try. And I must acknowledge the help I received from my professors, Sri Jaikant Sharma and Ram Salahi sir, and Dharampal, who helped me to put to this PPT and also guided me. The subject is very vast, and I have to say what is the most important, what they have to take it back. And my professor said, Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe is a very important concept which propounded by grammarians. He said that is a very important thing which people have to take it back. Okay, Shabda Nityatvam is very important for Sanskrit grammarians. So thank them for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Bijlani.
Can I ask one more question? It's Arvind again.
Yes, please go ahead.
I just remembered a shloka addressed to Patanjali. It goes like this: Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena. So that means you gave us yoga to clean our chitta, our mind. You gave us padam or vyakaranam to clean our tongue. And to clean the body, you gave medicine. So is there any medicinal text or
Yeah, I will say that. Okay. So Ayurveda, he wrote Vartikam for Ayurveda. Okay. So there are if you're talking about Sanskrit philosophy, first there will be sutras and there will be Vartikams, and the third one is the Bhashyam. So it is said that Patanjali gave the Bhashyam to Panini Sutram. He wrote Yoga Sutras and wrote Vartikam for Ayurveda. Ayurveda. Okay. So he is somebody who is very important in Indian literature, and there are many legends as associated. I referred to few legends.
Like Abhinav Gupta of the Shakta tradition, from who is also comparable genius. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things which I wanted to point out is that once I started learning Sanskrit and studying Sanskrit, I was amazed at the kind of literature available in Sanskrit. And we are not, I wish people have learned Sanskrit and try to understand some of the literature which Sanskrit has, and under various subjects. The depth and the breadth of the literature is quite amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to share with the participants that the recording of today's session and all the Yes Talk sessions are published on our YouTube channel, Yes Spirituality. This is how it is spelled, please note. And we also invite you to explore this channel for content on yoga, education, and spirituality, and related subjects like self-help, psychology, and wellness. And you are most welcome to visit us and join us on our social media platforms also, like Instagram and Facebook. We are there with the same name, Yes Spirituality. Ishwaran sir, thanks so much once again for sharing your valuable time with all of us. We would love to have such interesting sessions with you once again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dhanyavada.
Dhanyavad, sir. Participants, thank you so much for being with us today. We'll close today's session now with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.